welcome our special guest, Kodo Nishimura.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and coming to this event. I'm so grateful that I can share the time, and I would love to share any stories or inspirations that you might feel nice after. And so I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Oh, we are grateful for you sharing your time, your precious time with us, Kodo. I will do my best to highlight your life, the ups, perhaps the downs, but really what you hope for in the future as well. So, without further ado, shall we get started?
Yes, please.
Okay. And you don't have to go you know go where you need to go, but I respect that. But walk us through some of your childhood memories. I heard something about Sailor Moon.
Oh, yes. I was born in 1989. And I grew up watching Sailor Moon, and that was my religion, I would say. She was my um, role model for how to live and how to, like, the virtue that I have comes from Sailor Moon TV show, because the show teaches you how to be persistent when you are going for your dream, and care for your friends, and share your love even in difficult situations. So that was my favorite thing. Wearing colorful clothes and magics and all these things were so exciting for me. But later, one of the villains, well, two of the villains, one of the four kings, they are villains. Two of them are homosexual couple, and
Oh,
one of them is very mean and kind of nasty, and the other one was so cruel and like heartless. And they were in love, but they were defeated in the end by Sailor Moon. So I felt that, oh, like these people are kind of similar to me. I was like 3 or 4 years old, but they were really mean. And even though I was super young, I knew that they were homosexual. And I felt that I shouldn't share my sentiment that I'm attracted to men. And other TV shows such as Crayon Shin-chan or One Piece, Kochikame, many TV shows had LGBTQ plus characters, but they were mostly treated as perverted or villains, kind of crazy and persistent in a bad
mhm.
way. So I felt that I shouldn't come out to my friends or parents because I didn't want to be seen as a villain. So I liked Sailor Moon, but um, on the other side, I was kind of seeing how I could be treated in society.
You mentioned really briefly about your parents, and I also want to mention to everybody else, if they didn't know, you were born and raised into a Jodoshu Buddhist family,
Yes.
and very rare, but both of your parents are monks. Tell me about your coming out story. Like, how old were you? Like, how were your parents involved in that process, if any?
Right. So I came out when I was, I think, 24, because I felt that that was something needed to be free and really live my authentic self. And I was not comfortable coming out before that, because when I was born, the community of the temple or relatives, they would say to my father, "Oh, congratulations, now you have a son.
Mm.
You can get you must be relieved." And yeah, and for me, I knew that, but I was not so happy because I felt that my destiny, my life was determined by the surrounding people with their expectation to inherit the temple and be a monk. So I was very rebellious, and I didn't want to meet anybody coming to the temple, and I was very rebellious, saying things like, "Oh, why is everyone coming to the temple praying to this wooden doll? Like, what's so fun about it? And why is everyone so religious? It's a made up story by somebody like 2,000 years ago." So I was very rebellious because I was forced to go to this direction, I think. If I wasn't born in a temple, I don't think I would give so much attention to Buddhism. And my father used to say like, oh, in order to keep the temple running, you must be married, welcome a wife, because it's a very demanding job. And another time I was painting my nails with nail polish that my cousin bought for me. I was like 5 or 6. And my mother said, oh, I don't want you to be as an adult doing that kind of things. And I felt that that kind of things meant something feminine. So I started to think that my parents expect me to be a heterosexual man, getting married to a woman, inheriting the temple.
Mm.
So that was really like worrying for me. But after spending, I would say maybe around 6, 7 years in the US, I started meeting people from the LGBTQ community in Rio. And I started going to Parsons School of Design, where my professor was a homosexual man married to another man in school. And I started working for makeup artists who all of them really encouraged me that, oh, I'm sure your parents are going to accept you for who you are. You should. One thing that really changed my mind was that you live only once, so live it as you like. And I was like, that's so true. Who am I hiding it from? There's nothing wrong about being homosexual. It's all these perception that LGBTQ people being vicious or villains or perverted, that was repainted by meeting LGBTQ leaders, friends such as you. You encourage people that being homosexual, there's nothing wrong. And that kind of support was something that I was receiving from my community in the US. So they convinced me enough that I should, even if it was kind of dark and uncertain, I felt that it's right to tell my parents. At that time, I was dating men in the US, and I said that, well, because they were coming to visit me in New York, when you come to visit me, there is somebody who I would like to introduce you to. And he's actually a man. That's how I told my parents. My mother was very confused when I was younger because she was reading books about how to raise a child, and boys are supposed to be playing with other boys, and I was not doing that. So she went to psychiatrist secretly to consult about my situation. My father apparently knew about my sexuality when I was in high school. So my father was, well, I thought they would be kind of well, to be honest, I didn't really know how they would react to me. My mom said, oh, finally I understand. I was not sure if you were transgender or if my way of raising you was wrong, but now I understand. And she didn't have any discrimination. And my father, he said that, well, well, it's your life, so live as you want. And
Mm.
this temple, it's not Nishimura. Nishimura family is just me, you, and your mother, 3 of us. So if you're not going to inherit the temple, we can move to an apartment. There's no desire or wish that I demand you to inherit the temple. So live as you want and do what you like, because doing what you love is the best way to live your life. So I was very surprised and relieved because being disowned by my parents, being cut the lifeline because I was, receiving a lot of support from them was a huge threat to me. But I felt that finally I can live as who I am. And I felt that I was thrown into a pool of pink peach soda, like so sweet and bubbly and sparkly.
That is, I mean, first of all, the peach soda metaphor, people are loving that.
Yes, but that's how it exactly felt like. Luckily, in Buddhism, there is no teaching related to LGBTQ people, and they emphasize that Buddhist mercy is just like the moonlight, and it shines onto everybody regardless of any differences, even if you are related, related with crimes, or if you have committed crimes. Um, they specifically say sex workers, any of them can be liberated equally. And there are some teachings that say, like, if you cannot see, somebody can write Buddhist chanting on your back. If you cannot speak, you can write the chanting with your hands. So it felt very inclusive to me, which was really beautiful. Really leaves no one behind. So yeah, I would love. I know there are people who are very religious, and I wouldn't want to deny or compare or criticize any religions, but it is a fact that there are many teachings and religions, and I think it's okay to learn and know that there are different ways of thinking. Just by expanding your horizon, I think you can feel freer and know that there are other options. So if I can be an entrance to that, to Buddhist teaching of liberation and equality, that's what I think is my mission as a Buddhist monk.
I can't go without asking you, right, a question about family and family acceptance, which here at Okaeri, right, we work really hard to. That is actually the essence of why Okaeri had started 10 years ago, is really working within the Japanese and Japanese American community to foster and encourage more families, right, more family acceptance of the LGBTQ community, right? Can you drop us some wisdom in terms of anybody out there, parents, parents of LGBTQ individuals, family members, colleagues, maybe friends too, allies? Can you give us some hints as to where people can start to work on that sort of acceptance for LGBTQ individuals?
Sure. For First of all, for anybody who might not know what Okaeri means, it means welcome home. And I think a home is where you can really let go and where you feel comfortable, who you can be yourself with. And sometimes our house is maybe not the most comfortable place to feel at home. I think home is where you feel accepted, where you can mistakes and still be um, protected and cared for. So for anybody who is not able to feel home at your own house, I would suggest connecting with people who are like-minded, even if it's not about LGBTQ concerns. If you have a friend or any people who understands you and cares you without judgments, who is willing to listen to you, I think that can be a beautiful home. So for me, it was first I connected with some teenagers when I was a teenager on gay.com website. That really made me feel that, oh, I'm not alone. Like I also have problem when my boy male friends ask me what kind of girls I like. They all get confused. So I was able to feel at home by knowing that I'm not the only one. Um, by meeting friends little by little, I went to like a gay community center in Boston when I was 18. I felt that I was not alone. And by making my kind of chosen family, I was able to strengthen my identity and eventually learn that my parents they became my home after a while, after 24 years. So it's a process, but connecting with likely-minded people, I think, is the first step.
We put one of our favorite quotes directly on our marketing here, and I want to close with this, this is your quote: "I am an artist who liberates people. The change in your heart is my art." Oh, oh, what an artist you are. that just
Yeah,
just
thank
sums it
you.
up what you just shared with us. Gosh. All right. I hate to do this, Kodo, but I think this is the end of today's conversation. Again, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I want to, what a privilege this was to interview you and to explore your world. Thank you so much, Kodo. I feel
Thank
like I
you
made a
so
new
much,
friend. Thank you.
everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on today. It was a huge honor that I was able to share my story. So have a wonderful rest of the day, and yes, hopefully see you again in another opportunity. Thank you, everyone.